Hello guys, and what is up? Real Diversity here. We are back with another video. This video is basically about as you already maybe know by the title, it is basically a comparison of Midoriya from My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia and Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, right? So this is what this we're just doing a comparison. Which character is basically better or not? Well, that right there, I feel like itself is an opinion question, but we're gonna break down both characters and basically kind of I'll give my thought on who I think is better, and then you guys can give your thought on which one is the better character, right? So start first with the man himself, Golden Boy Tanjiro. So let's talk about Tanjiro first and foremost, and and to kind of describe his character through the series, I want to really say a static. He's not, there's two type of characters, right? Static and dynamic, and we're normally, I think, was there a third one? I think there was a third one. I can't remember. It was like a long time ago from like school. So, but I remember this one for sure was static character. Now that basically means that you are basically do not change pretty much at all throughout the duration of the story. Now, I don't think Tanjiro is a true static character because he has changes and things like that, but it's not nothing drastic, right? There's nothing ever really drastic that happens to him that really we can say just completely changes his whole character foundation. So let's move into it. And if you really think about it, start to end, right? Tanjiro, if you've seen the season, try to recall if you haven't, if it's been a minute. But if you think back on the Demon Slayer first season, right? Tanjiro's has basically been the same character from front to end, right? So I mean, like it's like from the first episode you met Tanjiro, it is nothing really different. Like if you go back and watch that first episode and probably go look at the last episode, there is nothing different about Tanjiro in terms of his morals, his character, his attitude. Still, he's still a kind guy. He still, cares for others. He still helps people like he did in that first episode. You got a real good like a solid look into his life that first episode, and it really carry. It was you really didn't even need to explain him anymore after that first episode. You really got the sense for the character, and that is basically how he kind of continued to be throughout the series, right? So in terms of like morals, his morals stayed the same, except maybe you can say his morals got a little push, right? At first he was hesitant, and that really is his biggest, I guess, like pushback, right? Is he is very at the beginning he was very hesitant on killing a demon. The very first demon he was gonna kill, he didn't do it, right? He hesitated, and the son ended up killing that demon. So Tanjiro even struggled early on just to flip that switch of demons are still evil at the end of the day. Which he once he flipped that switch, he was pretty much ruthless. Didn't I mean he cared for demons. He felt like they were helpless monsters, and that but he still couldn't ignore their sins. You can say basically how many people have killed and all that stuff. He couldn't ignore that, so he put that over caring about their life, right? So he cared more about their actions compared to that's how he kind of judged went off that. That's how his kind of judge meter went. And basically, if you felt like you were just being completely, which basically every demon he came across had killed, multiple humans. So he didn't hesitate to, end those demons or whatnot. But yeah, that was basically his very first and really only challenge to me was just that hesitation to kill. That even Giyu and the guy that trained him, they were hesitant. Like, oh man, this guy really um he's too kind. They just really felt like he was too, I guess you could say, kind or too sensitive, too gentle to get into the Demon Slayer business. So that's his biggest character, you know, um change and development. It's just him transitioning into a Demon Slayer. And you can think about it like this: would he have ever been a Demon Slayer if his family wasn't killed and he wasn't trying to turn Nezuko back into a human? And I think you can pretty much say he would have, if he found out about demons and what they were doing, I think he would have still became a demon slayer. So I don't think that you could say necessarily that just because his family getting killed, him becoming a demon slayer is a change of character. I think he potentially would have done that anyway if he knew about the business, found out, and and wanted to really help people. I think he definitely that's something I can definitely see in his character. Within those first few, of us, me knowing him, it seems like something he probably would have done, regardless of his family getting killed by demons. So that I don't feel like that's a change at all. I just feel like that was just a plot moving moment in that. But other than that, he hasn't, like I said, morals. Okay, so let me say this: we learn more about Tanjiro as the series goes on. But other than that, it's nothing surprising, right? So if someone tells you they like sea creatures, right? If I tell you I like sea creatures, and then I go into explaining why I like starfish, why I like dolphins, why I like sharks, and stuff like that. I'm breaking it down, but you already knew from the jump that I like sea creatures, so it's not a surprise. I'm just giving you more details as to why. So we already kind of know a general aspect of Tanjiro's morals, right? We know we really know what he would do for others, and it's no surprise a lot of the things he does. We just kind of get a more in depth of his feelings and things like that as the more demons he encounters, and just as more he kind of goes through life, we see a lot of we just get more insight in his thoughts and things like that. Other than that, we really don't see a change in his morals. We just kind of learn more about them as per se. And so I think in terms of character, that is pretty much all I want to pretty much say. But if you really think about it, what is different from first episode to last episode, Tanjiro? If you could see something that's majorly different, you leave a comment, because I can't really think of much that really changed besides him Gavin really to get over killing demons, which only took him like just his first demon he couldn't kill. After that, he didn't give a he was slicing the necks off and no hesitation. Now, I like the pace of the show. I love the pace of Demon Slayer. It's really, really, really. I wish My Hero Academia took some notes on the pacing, because man, they really know how to pace on that show. But going forward, let's go into in terms of outside of just his character and moral development. Well, let me just say that we're in general. We haven't really seen him develop any new ideals, any new moral. We haven't seen any of that from Tanjiro. That's why I made him a pretty much static character, because he hasn't. We haven't really seen any development inside of his mental aspect, right? So let's go into his more so character wise as a demon slayer, right? So as a demon slayer, he hasn't really, if you think about it, right, from the time he was trained, right, the moment he went to final selection, that's the same Tanjiro, right? The moment he sliced that boulder and went to final selection, that is the same Tanjiro till we get to after the spider arc, right? After the spider family arc. After that, I can't remember the name, specific name of the arc, but I'm sure when I say spider family arc, you know exactly what I'm talking about. After that arc, Tanjiro didn't like we didn't see no training from him. So basically, he developed in battle, you can say, in a sense, but like in terms of he was pretty much given the keys to success and ran with it, right? They gave him once he trained his butt off for 2 years. He sliced the boulder. It was no more need for him to train until after the spider arc. So it goes to show you, it's another kind of hiccup right there is his lack of needing to really improve. Because if you really think about he almost took out a lower. Well, he had the help of his sister a little bit, but he almost on his own, right? Like no, nothing different from the Tanjiro that went to final selection. Almost took out a lower moon, and really, I want to say he would have been able to take him out, but he probably would have died in the process if it wasn't for his sister Nezuko. But I think on his own, he would have been able to take out that lower 12 moon on his own. But he would have probably died in the process. So I feel like he's already at the strength of a Hashirama. I think I'm saying it right. Like guys like Giyu, right? Those elite demon slayers. I feel like from that point on, he was like just like from final selection, you can almost say he could have probably took on that demon. Well, no, he did develop a little more, I guess. I just really don't. I'm trying to think back on it. He really did not like do any more special training. So you really can say after final selection, he was almost able. He would have been able to defeat a lower 12 moon. Now that right there, in terms of character, that is a little bit overpowered if you think about it. Not, but I guess that's how like prepared you should be. As if you really want to be a demon slayer, you should probably be able to take out a lower moon the moment you finish, all your training. And if you're being honest, but so he just kind of gained a little bit more, I guess, experience wise in fighting. Like you can be a great fighter, but the more fights you go through, the better you'll be at your next fight. So I guess that's the only real improvement was just through experience, I guess you can say. But yeah, so in terms of that, so but my point of mentioning that anyway was really to get at this idea of Tanjiro's lack of weaknesses, right? He lacks any weaknesses. Like this guy, you throw anything at him and he will overcome it pretty easily, right? It's very rare we've seen anything that Tanjiro like they threw everything at Tanjiro and he basically knocks it out the park, right? So he's very dependable, right? And that's great in a character, but in terms of a main character, it is not always desired because it just shows he's like bulletproof, right? And you get tired of having a guy that can just come in and just handle business. Except for Giyu, we love to see Giyu just walk in and just with ease. But yeah. But anyways, Tanjiro has almost no weaknesses, and that's pretty bad as as a main character, right? So from like I said, um, it's been he lost literally no fights except for the last one. You can say he lost, quote unquote. And yeah, you guys can argue that he didn't kill the demon because he took his own head off. But let's say he like at the same time if he didn't come up with the idea to take his own head off, he would have definitely won that fight. If you think about it. So yeah, but anyways, Tanjiro as a demon slayer. Now move back to right his ability to fight. Um, Pretty much, yeah, he gained experience, but even if you think back on it, he his sense of like his sense of smell, he didn't have to work to get his sense of smell. He just came with it, right? He just learned how to use it to see stuff. But other than that, like he already had a great sense of smell. It's not something he had to develop. His breathing technique, he didn't have to even develop that more through like the series. He just learned it, and he didn't even have to work on it till after the Spider Family arc. And it's just a lot of things. It just seemed like he instantly got almost with ease. And I guess you can say it's fair to say it would have took too much time, or it would have took away from the story. Maybe if they didn't just throw him stuff like that. But yeah, it just kind of like I said, it seems like he just already is equipped to handle any situation. Now with that said, he's a great character, and nonetheless, right? We still love Tanjiro. He's more in terms of relatability between these two characters we're comparing. He is definitely the more relatable one. I think a lot more people can see themselves in Tanjiro than in Midoriya, which is straight up. That's just straight honesty. I think that's a lot of reason why people may even lean more towards Tanjiro in discussions like this, but because relatability is a big factor in bias, so if you're more relatable, and you're probably more liked, and probably gonna get voted for more often than not. So that's another big aspect. Is Tanjiro is more relatable, but in terms of actual development as a demon slayer, and yeah, he does train. And not to say he doesn't train hard. He trains hard. He's a hard worker. That's another aspect of him. He's kind, smart, hard worker, and wants to protect Nezuko. Right. So that like you can literally sum him up in like 5 words. So um and yeah, and it's still still a great character. Still fits perfectly with his story. Um, and he basically is the compass for actually his friends. Really, he himself, like I said, lacks nothing as a character. So he's basically the compass for like Zenitsu and and his other friend. I can't not remember his name right now. It starts with Inosuke. There it is. Um, he's basically their compass, and pretty much like, and if that wasn't painfully obvious beforehand, it should have been definitely painfully obvious when they got to like the later on the training part with the constant breathing. That should have been way obvious then that he was their compass and morally and stuff. So he really lacks nothing as a character, and that makes him less interesting. But to me, but I mean, it's still a great character in my opinion. Just makes him a little bit less. I wouldn't even say less interesting, just less not as good. Most people when we talk about characters, who's a better character, it makes him less to me than I say. I'll even go and say it now. Midoriya. It makes you even less of a character than Midoriya. Now, I think I didn't miss anything. Did I miss anything? Well, let me say it like this. I think this sums it up really nicely. You can pretty much say that Tanjiro was made for this. He was made for what he does, made for exactly his show and exactly his series. So he fits in really well as the main character, and that right there, I guess, makes it seem like he's less static. But yes, he does have obstacles. They're just a little bit smaller, harder to find. But yes, he does face obstacles. He does have challenges. Like I said, as far as like more like his character development, it's more so we learn more about him rather than like him actually changing to situations, things like that. That's enough of Tanjiro. We're gonna hop into right now Midoriya. Now Midoriya is one of those characters that just from the jump, right? He just didn't even okay, going off that last reference we just said for Tanjiro, he was not made for what he was about to get into from the jump, right? So from day one, he had to work his butt off. And not to say, like I said, once again, not to say Tanjiro didn't, but from throughout, like almost every like 2 episodes, Midoriya has to train, and that's what we like when we see, right? We don't even see him like every day he has to work out and things like that to improve his body. But other than that, like when we visibly see training, like when he was training to get control and training to, like like it's a but like I said, it's you can also say it's the story, but when you think about how Midoriya develops almost like every 5 episodes, and we're not even talking about the manga or anything. Every like 5 episodes, he has to work on something new, right? To develop something new, whether it's like learning how to control his all for one, learning how to control it to a certain percentage, learning how to distribute it to his body, learning how to control it to just one part of his body. And I mean, like he literally was always having to develop stuff. Compared to Tanjiro, like we said, once he finished his training as a demon slayer, he was like I said, he was didn't have to do any more training until like 18 episodes later, right? So it's a big difference there. Um, in just terms of already like that goes into character development. Having to constantly work at something is quite different because he isn't like I said, after his initial training, he still isn't good enough, right, for villains or his line of work. He isn't good enough, right. Tanjiro right now is a well established demon slayer. Doesn't even need really much else to learn, but besides just some elite stuff, right. He learning elite stuff, right. So Midoriya just in general has way more obstacles up front. It's just not even talking about his character, just even his ability to do his job is already a challenge for him, right. So now let's actually talk about character, right. We know if you were born in a society where you didn't have a power and everyone else has quirks and powers, you would probably grow up a little bit hesitant too. You probably wouldn't be as outgoing as someone like Tanjiro, right? You probably would be a little more, chill back because almost anyone can take you out, right? Because just some random little girl has a quirk that could shock you or something, you're out the game, So it makes little sense, his character, and if in the long run of things, right, it makes sense, right. Going back to Tanjiro, Okay, right. So right now they're doing a really good job. If like say they do like a 2 year time skip or something like that, and Tanjiro is like a whole different person, right? He acts totally like he acts more like Giyu, right? He's more calm. He doesn't have to talk as much. He's like I said, just an exact copy of Giyu, right? Um, and so let's say he becomes something like that, right? That makes him really more interesting because of how consistent he was as a character earlier, right? So now Midoriya, it wouldn't be as like so Midoriya wouldn't be as interesting. Like when we get to the end of Midoriya's time as a hero, it's not gonna probably be as interesting because he is gradually changing his mind. Ideas are all that stuff, which is gradually changing as the story goes on and things like that. So he has this sense of you know getting better. He wants to get better at almost all costs because he is trying to be the next All Might, right? So he has to kind of have that mentality, and in a sense, he has to constantly work on like I said, not only his quirk, but also just the stress of becoming a hero, right? And it didn't like I said, he got his quirk so late compared to other people, so he's basically playing catch up, and it's just so many things that you know. As it just really forces him to change his, he's like way out of his comfort zone at this point, in the series, and every time he faces a villain, all right, I just thought of it completely right. Okay, I have the perfect explanation. So, as he develops as a fighter, his confidence grows. Not even just as a fighter, but the more his personality and his quirk go hand in hand, right? Deku was always a shy kind of guy. Didn't want to stand out. Really was fanboyish type. Um, and he was easy. Got bullied. That type of kid, right? And obviously, if you think about Tanjiro is the exact opposite. So when you start to look now, and this is the best way to really show Midoriya's growth, is look at him and Bakugo. Look at their interactions, right? Look at the very first time we saw, back in before he even got into UA, he Bakugo just basically bullied the mess out of him, right? Later, once they got into class, all that stuff, it didn't change much. But then you got to that fight, that first initial fight, where they fought during the training, and instead of hitting Bakugo, he actually avoided hitting him, and winning the game. He punched up in the air, and they won the game or whatever. And then you think to their last encounter where they fought at each other basically on equal terms, right? And you can basically see his, just through those interactions alone, you can see his improvement as a character. Develop, all that stuff is ideals, his confidence, all of that stuff is majorly shot way up throughout the series. The further as he progresses, right, he still sometimes reverts back in certain situations, but always as a hero. Just after every fight, you just look back at the fights, the way he kind of thought, reacted, and stuff like that. To now, you think now, the last fight we saw in the anime, he didn't hesitate. I mean, to fight Gentle Criminal, right? He realized who Gentle Criminal was. He said, "Oh, let me stop this guy." Right? You think back on early Deku, it was like, oh, if he would have ran to Gentle Criminal and realized who it was, he would have thought loops around the situation. Should I do it? Should I do it? Should I do it? But he would let you can just see the build up and confidence. So you can just see he drastically has changed for the better, and he was set up to beat it. So if you always feel like, if you're the type that says, "Oh, Midori is a crybaby" and things like that, he was set up basically to be seen as that way, to make him basically look much better once he gets to the end of his line and you start really seeing his improvement, right? So, excuse me, yeah, but we basically seen a tremendous development in character and his hero life. It's just morals, all of that stuff has really been shot up. Well, that morals has his morals really changed too much. Um, I don't. I think they have. I think they've changed more than Tanjiro's anyway. And yeah, so I feel like as everything he pretty much has is constantly changing, right? In the series, it's never you probably can't go like 20 chapters in the manga without Deku like not having some significant change, whether it be in his ability to do things or whatever, right? And you don't have that consistent change when it comes to Tanjiro. So in terms of change, I gotta give it up to development, change, all that. I gotta give it up to Midori. He definitely is more than not just he just his whole story just builds on him getting better as a hero. So it's really hard, and these aren't even two characters that should really be compared. It's just I just saw and got in a debate about this on Instagram. So I just happened to made me think about it, and they're two decent characters to compare. It's not like just should never be compared, but they're not really some you really should compare. But let me give you guys another example here. So right, if Tanjiro does okay, and we're just talking about Demon Slayer characters right now. If Tanjiro does something really cool to kill a demon, it's not to me, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people agree. It's not as impressive as somebody like Zenitsu when he does it. Right, if when Zenitsu does it, it's you get a like, oh my god, this man, because he's not, you don't get that from his character, right? You think he's a scared guy, but when he shows his demon slayer side, he's a whole different person, and you get a bigger shock, surprise, and I even want to say enjoyment out of seeing a character like Zenitsu go off rather than someone like Tanjiro, because you expected Tanjiro to step up and do his job, but you really don't expect Zenitsu to be able to do much, right? So it's nicer to see him pull off something cool rather than Tanjiro, and I think if you replace Zenitsu with Midoriya, you get the same kind of feeling, right? So the more Midoriya progresses in the story, the more we're like, oh man, this guy's oof, I'm getting chills from him. He's not even the same person, and it really is really nice to see the development and character we get from Midoriya, and like I said, Tanjiro is a great character, man. I'm not even like no hate on the guy. That guy, man, like I said, just one of the better characters we've seen in terms of shonen. And gotta respect Demon Slayer, gotta respect My Hero Academia. They're both great shows, both great characters. But I gotta give it up to Midoriya in terms of development. But in terms of relatability, which is just as important, it's gotta be Tanjiro. Tanjiro is more relatable. So either way, drop a comment. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I missed. I rather not have a debate about it. This was my opinion. You can give your opinion, but just don't be like you're wrong, because it's more so my opinion. But you can let me know your opinion in the comments. Let me know who you think is better. Let me know if you agree with me or not. But yeah. Anyways, I hope this video was entertaining. If you did like it, please hit that like button. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. How nice would it be to say if we got to like 10,000 subscribers and you're like, well, I was here before we even got to 1,000. Wouldn't that be nice to say? Anyways, we're diverse. We're out. Peace.